Dun, 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 dun. Here we are. Here we are again. And we were talking about, what are we talking about today?
Come on, get your damn brain going.
I got it. I'm good. We're talking about hormones.
Yeah.
Hormone health. Okay, I'm going to start this out and I'm going to say this. I'm going to look right at the camera, right there. Okay, we are in no shape, form, or fashion doctors. We're not doctors and this is not medical advice. And if you end up taking medical advice from us, you probably need to go see a real doctor. Probably one that deals with your brain. But have to say that because it is the world in which we live.
Full disclosure, we are not giving medical advice directly. We are sharing what we have dealt with, what information that we have collected, and talking about some of the ask-hole situations that we deal with through our businesses. Mainly with people who come to us that are over the age of 35 to 45.
Yeah.
That have begun to or have had particular issues in their life with, like, especially like women, weight gain that they never had problems with before, and sleeplessness, mood, energy, and one of the biggest ones for both men and women is a lack of interest in the bedroom. Libido. And like when they come to us with the gym and then through like some of the online training and stuff we do, and they, you know, some of the first questions that we always ask is, have you, especially anybody over the age of 30, have you ever had your numbers checked? Like, what do your numbers look like? What does your diet look like? And what does your physical daily activity look like? Like, those are our three primary questions we ask.
Yes. And now I know with all the information out there that it is a little befuddling to us sometimes. That word came out so much better than what I thought it was.
Befuddling.
There you go. Yeah, no, it worked. I said it. I'm not going to try it again, though. All right, here we go. It's a little befuddling to us that the people that don't have their numbers checked, and by numbers we mean for men,
getting your blood work done.
Yeah, for men, women, but for men, I'll speak on the inside, it's getting your testosterone checked, your estrogen, all your numbers. Not going to your GP with your general practitioner. All they're going to do is run a normal blood panel, white blood cell, red blood cell. They will check tests if you ask them to, and they'll come back and tell you you're normal as long as you're over the number of 200. And 200
on average.
Low.
So like on average, your GP generally doesn't. If you have a great GP, congratulations, most people don't. Women, if you use your OB as your GP, same thing. I did the same thing. I knew something was wrong. I was sleeping. I felt depressed. I'm not a depressive person. I would have stupid anxiety, and I don't generally have, and I'm not a very anxious person by nature. And I would just sit there and cry about things that I knew I couldn't do anything about. And I would even cry to Gregg about, I don't know why I'm crying. Like, this doesn't make, like, I don't make any sense. Like, I would be crying about not understanding why I was crying, and we knew something was wrong. But where we are, there aren't, we perceive that there were not any women's hormone health doctors in the area. We found one, but not after. I was like, I'm just going to go to my OB. They're great. I've had the same OB for 25 years. And so I go in and I asked for a full panel because I knew what numbers I needed to look at, what numbers I needed to discuss with my doctor to possibly look and see what was going on. And bit pissed, but
they're coming to get us. They found us. We haven't even started talking about the government stuff yet. I did put tinfoil on top of the house, so we don't have to wear the hats.
Shut up. Anyhow, went to my OB to get a full panel done, and it was the first time that I had had a lack of confidence in my doctor, because all she kept saying was, you know, your numbers were normal for your age. And I'd be like, okay. And then she'd start talking about options and stuff. And I'm like, well, what were they? Like, I wanted to know what my progesterone was. I wanted to know what my estrogen and my testosterone. I wanted to know what my blood count, platelets and all looked like. I wanted a full panel because I knew that could tell me what we had going on inside my body than what we need to do diet-wise, nutrition-wise, or supplement-wise to correct. And all I would get was, they're normal for your age.
There was never a time where she gave you an actual
number.
None.
Whatsoever. Just kept saying they're normal for your age.
Even to the point where I was like, it's her blood work. They're her numbers.
You swelled up.
I want them.
You were so pissed, like you started vibrating.
Yes, I was furious.
And eventually, I knew I was at the very least perimenopausal, if not menopausal. And so to alleviate some of the symptoms with like all the fatigue, the irritability, the depression, where I'm not being depressed, she prescribed to me saw palmetto, which does have a lot of effects to help alleviate menopausal symptoms. First wanted to put me back on the pill.
Yeah.
40 years old at the time, I was fixing to be 40 at the time. I was 39, wanted to put me on the pill, and I'm fixed. One, I didn't want to go on the pill because it changes your hormone structure so much to the point that it actually affects the way you chemically perceive your partner. And like, to the point, ladies, if you're dating somebody and you're on the pill, you definitely, if you're serious about this person, I would suggest having a bit of abstinence for a while if you don't already. And not like have like a 6-month period not on the pill, because it takes 3 months for your body to reacclimate on average. But the person is going to smell differently to you. Even like when you kiss them, how you feel, because there's a chemical transfer when that happens with, the kiss. And then even to the point, the sound of their voice will physically resonate differently on and off the pill. They've done studies. I will try to find some of them that I've read and link in the comments of this video here.
Well, and here's the thing. Anytime you start messing with your hormones.
I didn't want that because we have such a great foundation of relationship. I didn't want to wake up one morning and be like, ugh, for the sake of making my menopausal symptoms better.
Look at me. You wouldn't have went, ugh.
Well, physically, no. That the eye doesn't really change the eye much, but I mean,
I got it.
all the other stuff I didn't want to risk that.
No, because whenever you start messing with your hormones, you're on the molecular level, you are changing what you are. Because that's what hormones, they are what you are.
They're your drive.
Yeah. And when you start doing that, now, for women, since we're talking about women right now, when you start doing that through the pill,
the creams, the pellets,
lots of different ways, you really have to have your doctor dialed in to your numbers, to what's going on. You have to get your blood work done
for you,
and not just a general overall range. For instance, it took me a while to find the hormone doctor that you go to now.
Yeah, we were about to go to Texas.
Yeah, we was about to go to...
Because that was the closest one that we could find that would do telemedicine. We just had to go to the first visit.
Yeah. I had already called them. It's ways to well. I mean, I'll say that. That was the place where we were going.
The one that Rogan
in Texas,
talks about all the time.
But I just lucked into finding one close to home. And we went, and again, we're talking about women's hormones health right now and women's hormone doctors. It was a lot different than men's. That first appointment was like, and this is why we tell everybody to get a legitimate hormone doctor that specializes in, if you're a woman, women, if you're a man, men. Because the first visit with your hormone doctor, it was 3 hours.
Oh God, we were in there like it is a full-blown consultation, and
this is after we went and had blood drawn. She had the blood work back.
We didn't even speak to the doctor the first time until after we had her first.
Yeah, because there's nothing they can tell until after the blood work. And I mean, we went back to childhood stuff, talking about things, and she really dissected your numbers, what was going on, what could be causing stuff, what wasn't causing stuff. She was absolutely appalled that your doctor put you on saw palmetto when you have celiacs.
So the big part about that I didn't get to was putting me on the saw palmetto to alleviate some of my menopausal symptoms. When I went in there and I asked for a full panel at my OB, getting a little ahead of ourselves. When I went in there at my OB and I asked for a full panel, they should have seen what my liver enzymes looked like. And apparently, because some of the issues I was having was a direct cause of an infection that women can begin to get when they're when they're in perimenopause and going into menopause. A lot of women aren't aware of this. As aware as I am about my body, I wasn't even aware of this. I wasn't aware that whenever you're going into, when you're menopausal or perimenopausal, some women have the symptoms of UTIs. They've never had UTIs before, like full kidney, bladder, and liver infections. And I didn't know that. I knew that women could get some UTI issues, but to start having chronic ones, and then for it to be bad enough that it would spread to your liver and your kidneys like that, I wasn't aware of that. So apparently this was one of my problems that I was having, and we weren't aware of it because a UTI won't always present in the same symptoms. Not in that case.
Yeah.
But had she ran a full panel like I had requested, she would have seen the numbers didn't look right and asked for another test that would have specifically looked at that a little bit deeper. Yeah. So I took the saw palmetto, and I wound up going to the hospital because it had gotten so bad at that point that the doctor there called to check on me the next morning, like gave me a prescription, said, here, take this as soon as you get home, because it was that morning. Take this as soon as you get home, and then take your other dose at night. I don't care that it's 3 hours apart. Go ahead and take them. It's far enough. And it was a super, super bad antibiotic. I've had it before, and I can't remember the name of it. But it's the antibiotic that is so... It's a bad antibiotic. Like it's
just strong.
It's strong. Yeah. It attacks the system to the point that it physically makes you hurt from getting rid of the infection in the body. Yeah. But she called me the next morning and wanted to make sure that it was around 9 o'clock.
Yeah, that you were getting
wanted
better.
to make sure that some of my symptoms from the infection had started to alleviate. And she goes, okay, good. Oh, okay, good. It's working. I said, is there something you want to tell me?
Yeah. That is never, you don't ever want to hear from your doctor. Whew, good, I'm glad that worked. No, you don't want to hear that.
So apparently it was pretty bad. And she point blank, she goes, okay, as long as it continues to get better, stay on that round and you'll be good. If it at all comes back even a little bit, she goes, do not wait, do not come to me, go straight to that. Now this is a different doctor. I went to a clinic doctor here, and she's like, you need to go straight to the emergency room. She said, don't call me, don't check in. She said, go straight to the emergency room, tell them you had a severe liver infection and what you were on, and they'll know what to do.
Yeah. No, we do not have the same OB.
So that
is not our OB.
The clinic doctor, straight up, I was so bad at that point with the liver infection that I was at the point of my liver starting to shut down.
Yeah.
And she was terrified that I was at that point after getting the full results back from my panel that afternoon or the next morning. So a lot of women aren't aware that is an issue that can happen, is that you go in and you get all these infections and problems and stuff. And my OB didn't check anything that I asked, and had she checked it, she would have known that you don't give saw palmetto to somebody if you already have liver and kidney issues. It's not going to do anything but throw gasoline on that fire and make it worse. So I got really, really pissed. And then, when we finally went to my Leah to the hormone doctor and told her what happened, she was horrified. The clinic doctor was horrified, and I'm sitting here going, "Why are all these other doctors horrified?" And my OB, that's been my OB for 25 years, she's like, "Oh, your numbers are normal," and dismissed all of the problems I was saying. And a woman doctor at that. You know, some people would be like, oh, yeah, it's a typical man. No, this was a woman doctor. This is why I was confident in this doctor. And so if you have an OB and you go to your OB for everything, and if you ask for a full panel and they do not give you the results and then discuss the results with you, you need a new doctor, because they're not doing their job. They're just taking your money, putting a Band-Aid on a scashed wound and sending you out the door.
That's that 6-minute thing. They have 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Run you in, run you out to continue to make money.
I was horrified.
So
I was absolutely horrified. Men's doctors do it too.
Yeah, no, men's doctors do it too. It's
we got
that medical industrial complex.
We got a doctor that's been down here who's been in practice for 40 years that people will come in to the gym as clients. Same scenario, having the same issues that men have on that level and perspective. And when he runs their numbers,
yeah.
First thing, if they talk about, if it's a man or a woman, does not matter. If they talk about having an issue with losing weight and they've done everything, like they are working out and they are eating right, but he's never checked their hormone levels or anything like that, and they're tired all the time. First thing he does, he wants to give them a prescription for Ozempic. Ozempic or
semaglutide, yeah. That's the first thing he does.
And he has
Wegovy, whatever you want.
He has actually talked men out of getting testosterone and told women that you don't need testosterone.
Okay, so since we're on him for just a second, I did find out something funny. He is not a fan of me.
He's not a fan of me either.
I wouldn't know. I honestly wouldn't know him if he was standing right there. Like,
I know him. He's the doctor that almost caused Cody to get pneumonia.
No, I know. Well, I mean, I know that, but that was 20 years ago.
Because I was just a young mama, and I don't know what I'm talking about.
I wouldn't know him if he was standing right there. But he has actively told people that I don't know what I'm talking about.
If you wind up watching this or somebody shows it to you, yes, we're aware.
Yeah. And again, I'm not a doctor. I've never claimed to be a doctor. Never given medical advice or anything.
But we do. People is talk to them about our experiences and what we've dealt with and what we have discussed with our doctors, and be like, look, if I were you, I would go and have my numbers checked. Yeah. And we reference them to, a couple of good doctors that we know will give them the information that they're looking for, whether they need the testosterone therapy or estrogen therapy or not.
Or whatever they need.
They'll tell them what they need.
Yeah. Well, getting back to, let me finish that about the local doctor. He told somebody that their testosterone, it was a guy, and he's 28 years old, and his testosterone was 180 nanodeciliters, whatever. It was 180, and he said that was fine.
But that person had also had 2 traumatic car wrecks, if it's the person I'm thinking about.
Totally different.
Another one.
First of all, 28-year-old at 180 test number, he's not overweight.
For reference, the average healthy level for a female is an average of 60 to 100. That's that the 100 is the high point. The 100 is if your numbers are coming in more than 100, the doctor might need to talk about bumping you back a bit, because
you don't end up looking like me.
Yeah. So, but on average, like mine, my average is around 90. And that's where I'm comfortable. Sometimes I go in, it's a little lower. Sometimes it's around 99, bumping that 100, but it's never been over 100.
Okay, let's get back to, I'll finish that story later.
And men's is an average of 300 to...
Yeah, 300 is low. And if you get up to 1,000, you start getting into like super soldier kind of numbers.
The Goldilocks zone is around that 500 to 600, what doctors like to see you at.
5 to 800. And then if you're dealing with a real true men's hormone doctor, he'll look at your numbers and then go, well, how are you feeling? And then he'll adjust from there. And that is one of the things that's important.
And they do discuss your diet. They do discuss your physical activity with you. They don't just go, all right, here's a prescription.
Yeah. That is something that's important to talk about and it's important to think about. So whenever you're looking for, if you're a female, since we started with female, if you're looking for a hormone doctor, first of all, they should spend some time with you.
Mm-hmm.
Females especially. Males not so much because we're just
Y'all are running
blockheads
off of two primary numbers, and we got
a lot. Imagine that. So females.
Personality for every day of the week.
That's right. I will never cheat on you because I'll just wait till the next personality rolls around and then there we go. But
keep you busy.
That's right. But your doctor needs to spend some time with you talking about everything. Now, I'm not saying the 3-hour thing, that was a little excessive, I thought, but she did do a full dive into her family history, her everything that went on in her childhood, all the way up to where we are now, pregnancies, miscarriages, everything, all the way up to where we are now.
Discovering my celiacs.
Yeah. And then the next thing is when they check your blood work, if they do not ask at some point in there, how do you feel on these numbers? That might throw up a little bit of a red flag.
She asks me every time I go in, so does yours.
Exactly. Every time we go in, somebody says, how are you feeling? They check our numbers, they go, how are you feeling? I feel good. The last one I went to, I wasn't feeling, I was tired and I didn't have a reason to be tired. And so they moved, my numbers looked okay. And they moved it up.
They were lower compared to what they had been. And that's the other thing. Like, you can be on a dose, and then because your body just slowly ages, it does what it does. You might have to bump your dose up every once in a while. It's never cookie cutter. That's the reason why you gotta be, you gotta have your numbers checked every 6 months.
And it's also important that you have especially for women, men too, if you want a true number of where your test levels are and where your free test levels are and all this stuff. But women, they need a fasted level.
Did you finish? You didn't finish the doctor thing.
Oh, about the local doctor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, the kid at 180. My bad. Hey, I'm working on.
Oh, no. We're 2 o'clock in the morning, and it is.
It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon now. I've had a migraine all day. I'm still fighting it. Bear with us. We'll be a little rambly today.
A little bit. You'll be all right. All right. So he's at 180. Told him he didn't need any TRT. Mm-hmm. Told him his numbers were fine. Mm-hmm. The kid was thinking about unaliving himself. Came into the gym. Looked horrible. And this is usually...
Ow!
What was that?
I shifted and something pinched in my back.
Okay.
And I couldn't feel my foot and it hurt.
Are we okay?
Oh, hold on. I gotta... This is what getting old is. Speaking of it.
Yeah.
It hit that sciatic nerve on that
all right.
left side. I'm sorry.
Little intermission here.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I can feel it again. Sorry.
Okay.
Get my old lady pillow over here. Keep me propped up.
Watch out there, Sharon Stone.
It's good.
Hey, what? I had a good angle. All right. So anyway.
I don't think we're ever going to get through a podcast where I'm not distracting you.
You are absolutely honey, it's okay. I wasn't fussing.
Did Dad upset you?
Anyway, so the kid was thinking about and it hadn't gotten to the point where he was planning it out, but he was thinking about, look, I don't know if I want to live like this. Came into the gym and looked like hot garbage. And I finally worked my way around over there and figured out a way to talk to him. And I just walked up to him and was like, bro, you look like shit. I was like, what's going on? Did you get drunk last night? He was like, I wish. And so we got to talking. And he told me what was going on. He told me who he was seeing. And I was like, run. I was like, you need to run. I called Ross. I just went ahead and called. Mm-hmm. My hormone clinic, there's a nurse there, Ross. I just called over there and said, look, I need to talk to Ross Jake, and talked to him, and they expedited getting him in.
Good. Because it's like a 3-month waiting list for them sometimes.
Yeah. They expedited it. He actually went last week, and he feels better. And it was almost immediate, which is what's sad. And the reason the local doctor is so anti-TRT is because he's working on some old information. So back, 40 years ago.
It was the case study where they did the testosterone test and they showed that the group studied had a higher risk of actually experiencing fatal heart attacks.
No, it was prostate cancer and heart disease.
Yeah.
The prostate cancer study, and I did a video on the
Say
gym.
no, and then you just repeat what I was saying.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to do. Okay, so the prostate study, there's to clip that out. The prostate study. We're studying the prostate. The prostate. Quit looking at me like you want to fucking fight me. Like I think.
I had a toy back there to check your fucking prostate.
No.
Continue, since I was wrong with what I was saying.
You wasn't wrong. I was just going to go in a different direction. All right, anyway.
No, go ahead.
So the prostate study that was done on less than 100 men. And I did a video on this on the gym page when the FDA removed the black box warning label from testosterone. And I had all the numbers. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But it was less than 100 men. They were all elderly men. Super unactive and already in that chance for prostate cancer demographic. And there was either 2 or 4 out of the 100 that developed prostate cancer, which happened to be a little bit more than what they thought it should be. The heart attack study or the heart disease study, basically the same thing, super elderly men, but they actually put these men on they called it a workout program, but it was more cardio. So whenever you put a 70-year-old sedentary man on a cardio workout program and he has a heart attack, you're going to blame it on the testosterone. And that's why the FDA, those 2 studies, was why the FDA put the black box warning label on testosterone.
The other thing with the first study is they didn't include the fact that this wasn't a broad demographic of men.
No.
Studied over several years. This was several months. And there was a small demographic of that 55 to 65 age range, I think it was. And they all had underlined precursors for heart disease to begin with.
Yes, they had pre-existing medical.
They didn't put anything. They didn't put any of that in the case study into account. The fact that it was a very small sample pool, that it was several months, not several years, and that they all already had like high blood pressure and stuff like that.
They were predisposed to heart disease and prostate cancer.
Didn't add any of that. They just said, we did a study. We studied X men. And you take testosterone replacement or TRT and you're going to get cancer. Done.
Okay, so that led to the black box warning, which a black box warning on a drug is exactly what it is. It is a black box that the FDA requires drug makers to put on the packaging of the drug. That's just, it's a warning for doctors to go, hey, there could be some side effects to this.
And if they don't tell you legally, then they all could be sued.
Yeah. Well, here, 3 months ago, beginning of the year, the FDA removed that black box warning from testosterone replacement therapy. Yeah, it hasn't been that long. Sometime this year. And they used the TRAVERSE study. And TRAVERSE stands for, it's an acronym, it stands for something, and I will not be able to pull that up or bring that up. But they used the TRAVERSE study, which studied 5,000 men over 10 years, and there was no appreciable difference in heart disease or prostate cancer.
And it was a larger demographic.
Yeah, it was 5,000 men.
No, I mean a pool.
Oh, yeah, age demographic.
They aged from the 20s all the way into the 60s.
Yeah. It was a big pool. It was a true, legitimate study over, it was either 10 or 15 years. I think it was 10 years. That's when the warning got removed. So, men, if you go to your doctor and they say, hey, testosterone replacement therapy is going to cause heart disease or prostate cancer, you can quote this. It is called the Traverse study, and that was debunked. There was no appreciable difference. So that's the other thing. Some doctors are now, for some of them, they feel like once they get that doctorate and they go through their internship and they are a doctor and they start their own practice, well, they know everything and they don't have to do any further study to know anything else because they already know everything.
Oh, yeah. At a certain point, especially small town doctors, when they get their own clinic practice, the only continued education that they do is what they bare minimally have to do to keep their certification.
Keep their license.
That is it.
So if your doctor says that, there's another red flag to, hey, you don't have all your information. And if they're resistant whenever you give them this information, if they talk to you like you're an idiot or a 5-year-old and say, bless your heart, then you need to find another doctor. And women, if you mention testosterone to him, especially the local GP, he's going to freak out and think you're a bodybuilder and you're going to be a steroid head and you're just looking to get, especially as a female, testosterone so you can grow big muscles, and talk you completely out of it. And the test for women now, the science behind it.
And that whole, anytime any woman talks about like the fatigue, sleeplessness, you get the, well, you're getting older, and what's the other one? I forget it.
I can't. It's just part of being a woman. I've heard them say that.
Yeah.
Oh, little A, it's gonna be okay. It's just you're depressed, and
do you think you're just trying to do too much?
There you go. There, that's
that old mother. You want to?
Well, and they'll freak out. But testosterone is just as important for women as it is men. Just like with men, we need estrogen. If your hormone doctor immediately puts you on aromatase, which is an estrogen blocker, you need to be like, hey, why are we doing this? Because men need estrogen too, just like women need testosterone. It works together. That's why we tell people all the time, and it sounds horrible, but your body is a big chemistry experiment.
Yeah.
From what you eat, drink, what you're around every day, to if you put any hormones in your system, it's a big chemistry experiment.
It's the same thing we talk about with workouts. There's no cookie cutter workout. There's no cookie cutter diet. And when it comes to your overall health, there's no cookie cutter for that. Because what is a normal blood work numbers for you isn't a normal blood works number for somebody else. A lot of women function perfectly fine around that 50 to 60 number of testosterone, and it balances their progesterone and estrogen perfectly, versus somebody like me who's always been a high testosterone functioning individual. I'm more comfortable between that 70 and 90 mark. That's when 70 is a little low, honestly. I feel more fatigued and cloudy whenever it's around that number. When it's around that 90, man, I am on point. Yeah. Like, I'm getting shit done. I'm waking up before the alarm. Y'all are having to go enough for today. And I'm like, but I'm good. I can finish more. And you're like, you've done enough.
Yeah.
And let's not even go around to the differences before I went to the doctor. And I'm a very, very active bedroom individual.
Yes.
And that was another thing we knew when something was wrong with me before we found the hormone doctor, was I knew something was off, because I wasn't disinterested. No. Mentally, I was always interested, but physically
it just wasn't.
It wasn't here, and it wasn't here. And when I like it when the kitty purrs and you walk in the room.
Yeah. Yep. I do too.
And I knew something was wrong when I'm like, we got to fix this because I don't like it.
And we found a great doctor. It took a lot of work.
Yes, a lot of work.
And we found a good doctor.
Tweaked my diet some more, which helped you in return because you eat the same thing that I eat. So we cut out the chicken. So we stopped eating as lean as we were and started eating more fatty, oddly enough. So red fatty meat, like
the good fats, the olive oil, the red meat fats,
not heated olive oil, cold olive oil with sourdough bread. That is amazing for your hormones and your brain health. Lots of steak, eggs, good cheese, not fake cheese, and we put a good teaspoon of ghee in the pan when we cook our steaks. And
again, this works for us.
It's what works for us.
It might not work for everybody.
I mean, it's a dirty carnivore diet, basically. It's an ancestral diet.
Yeah, and we throw some fruit in there.
Blueberries,
grapes,
strawberries, grapes,
oranges, cuties. And that's what we do, and it works. Our numbers are coming back better each time we go to get our blood work done.
But that's kind of the overall thing, which a lot of people don't realize is in their marriages and relationships, which is a thing that sparked us to do this, because apparently we have a lot of people that we know at this point, which I guess age perspective.
Yeah, our friends are old. We're not, but they are.
But the people that are around us, it's not all of them, but there's several between the people we know in our real life and clients that we deal with on social media. Because we answer a lot of these questions on our open platforms as well. And here's the thing. They have begun to have problems. Some of them have either gotten a divorce or looking at divorce. And it's a really sad thing when neither party is wanting to get the divorce prospectively.
But something is not working.
It's not working. And it's not working.
And then
I try to be very careful with what I say because I don't want anybody to feel like I'm talking about them, but it's just life perspective, right? It breaks my heart when I see people in relationships that are talking about calling it quits and saying they've tried everything, but they really haven't tried everything. Like if part of your problem is a bedroom problem, and let's just say a guy's perspective, right? So if as a man, you're having bedroom problems and the bedroom problem is because things aren't as long as they used to be, or
the little soldier doesn't rise and march like you want him to.
Exactly. That's fixable. That's fixable through hormone therapy, through diet, and
exercise,
through physical activity. Like that, it's fixable. No, and if that doesn't get you all the way there are other meds that you can take that can, but you can take those other meds all day long and they'll help a little bit, but they never solve all the problem.
No, you got to fix everything. It's just like,
but it's just a Band-Aid. They want to take the Band-Aid without taking the solution.
It's like a car that has a flat tire.
And I've never understood that. I never understood why, if there's so much information out there that says, hey, if you are having a problem with this, like my GI doctor, whenever I got the new GI doctor and he gave me the Lyalda versus those 500 meds the other doctor had me on. The other meds the other doctor had me on was basically Band-Aid meds that was just alleviating all my symptoms. This doctor was like, here, I'm going to take you off of this. I'm going to put you on that. Now, look, here's the deal. This is just a Band-Aid. And that is what he used. This is a Band-Aid to help alleviate your symptoms with the least amount of prescriptions as possible, because I couldn't take all of them during the day because I'd be so busy working. But this is just a temporary fix. It's a temporary solution. we're fixing to get you fixed. First thing we're going to do is we're going to change your diet. I didn't have a bad diet, but I didn't have the right diet for what my physical problems were. Changed my diet, I continued to get better. Added physical activity in there, continued to get better. I took the what is it? Whenever like a mad doctor gives you something and it's the vial that will...
The experimental?
Antidote.
Oh. Holy shit. Oh, boy.
I have to translate everything before I say it. Y'all do not understand this. My ADHDers go, come here, honey. Come here. Come here.
We got a puppy.
Come here. Is that in the way? Come on.
Don't. Yeah.
Okay. Anyhow, so I just don't understand how people only want to try to take the easy button.
Yeah.
Because when there's an antidote that will solve the problem.
The antidote's hard. It's what I was supposed to say.
I was ready for the antidote. I was working out. I mean, I was doing everything.
It's like if you get a... She was knock it over.
Honey. Stop scratching your butt on the camera stand.
It's like if you have a car with a flat tire.
And you keep driving it on the rim.
And you take it to get the oil changed and think it should make it better.
I don't understand why it's not working.
All the buttons. If you don't start... And
you touch all the buttons.
Yeah, I like touching the buttons. I like touching the buttons. Especially when they make noise. Make the noise. Make the noise. Do it. Do it. But if you don't, and you can't use I didn't know anymore, because everybody's got a fucking computer in their pocket. 99% of them have some sort of AI on there now where you can just put it in and you can get the information you need, or at least point you in a direction. But people don't want to do that, because what you just described, you said there's diet, exercise, mental health, and then there's a pill. And you use the pill at the end, because that should be the last thing you do.
Well, the pill... But
that's the first thing they do.
The pill's the first thing that if you're going to the doctor and you have issues that you need to alleviate or symptoms from a problem, the pill's the first thing that you do to help with the symptoms, but it doesn't get rid of the problem.
No, it doesn't get rid of the problem. And men especially have such a hard time talking about this.
Because they're so prideful.
Yeah, but...
So fucking prideful.
Dude, if the soldier wasn't rising to attention, it's time to go to something.
I'm going to talk to anybody I can that,
like now.
Especially somebody I know who's already been through a similar situation and or worse. Yeah. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to listen. I'm going to absorb whatever information I can from there and then go with it.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask them, and then when they don't say what I want them to say,
just go off and do whatever I want to do. That's what we encountered the most, is people don't like, they want to know, it goes back to the whole fitness thing. They want to know what we're doing, and they ask what we're doing, and we tell them what we're doing, and... Well, I don't know if I can do that. And then they go and do 5 other things. Yeah. That's literally chasing their tail in a circle and don't understand why they're not seeing the results that they're looking for. I'm like, well, did you ever go to the doctor? No.
Did you ever get your blood work done? No.
Did you start...
change your diet? No. Did you change the workout that I gave you? Just gave you a workout. Did you do that?
I saw it, but I saw on social media that this influencer was doing this program, and I'm like, so you're gonna not listen to the 49-year-old personal trainer who's gone through all of this already and has the training to back it up, but you're gonna listen to a 20-something-year-old who's has never done any personal training classes. They've just had abs their whole life and got on social media and want to tell people how to do their program and charge you for it.
Yeah. Okay. Have fun.
That's sound thinking. That is sound thinking. Really.
That started being my response.
Don't get me wrong. In an aging society, there are points in time where one would defer to the youths of society over the seniors of society. So 9 times out of 10, if I need technology questions, I'm generally going to go to somebody younger or around our age, at least. I'm not going to go to my mom and my dad asking them for stuff. I have to explain to my mom how to use her iPhone sometimes, and she works in tech.
And you don't even have an iPhone.
And I don't have an iPhone.
Well, there can be, and here's where a lot of confusion comes in, because there is some good information out there from the younger influencers,
but they
especially
put
in
the
fitness
time
community.
in.
But they put the time in.
They put the time in.
And you have to vet them the same way you would vet a doctor or
don't
anything
follow
else.
Somebody just because they have abs and a nice booty on Instagram and think they know everything. Honey.
It's starting to look like there's an earthquake going on. Why did she stick her ass on the thing?
I don't know.
Anyway. No, don't. I mean, look. Hell, I was listening to one this morning, and he had some great advice, and it was about hormones, and it was about TRT. It was about going to the doctor. It was about getting your numbers checked.
Mm-hmm.
And he put it in a way, I wish I could remember who it was, but he put it in a way that was funny. I laughed, and, you know, I kind of went on after that, but I did look at some of his stuff, and he's got some good stuff. I wish I fucking knew who it was. I can't remember now. Because that was at 2:30 this morning. But no, so there is some good information out there. You just have to vet it like you do anything else. And there goes another problem. But as far as hormone health, get you a hormone doctor. Use them and listen to what they say. And then understand that it's a process.
It is a process.
It's
just like gaining weight. You didn't gain weight overnight, so you're not going to lose it overnight. It took time to get there. It's going to take time to get off. Your hormones didn't tank overnight. They've been tanking since you peaked at 25. It didn't happen overnight. It took years. Now, it don't take years to get them right.
No, it doesn't.
Depending on each individual person and what they put into that change, it can go anywhere as quick as a couple of weeks to feel back to 100%. It's taken me about 9 months before, because I was so far down.
Think about it like a gas tank. If your gas tank's empty, it's going to take a minute to fill that tank back up. And that's what it does. Mm-hmm. And everybody, again, it goes back to everybody's not the same. There's no cookie cutter. For me, whenever I got my testosterone dosage done, that's electrical. That'll shock your ass. Don't look at me like that. Like I've crushed your soul. That's damn. I ain't gonna let her chew on a cord.
It was the look.
I know. And now look at. She's telling them, move, move, move. Anyway. Fuck, I forgot what I was saying.
That's what I was laughing about. You was fixing to get off on a tangent.
Yeah. It's gone. I don't know what happened to it. Oh.
Talking about your doctor.
Me, once I started seeing a legitimate men's hormone doctor and I got my dosage figured out, hey, I've been good and I've been climbing ever since. Had that one little part where I went and told them that that I'm getting tired. Mm-hmm. And I shouldn't be tired. And that is one of the symptoms of low T.
Yeah. And it's when we were still in the apartment, and for a couple of weeks, every time I would say anything, snappy wouldn't be the right word, but it was very
emotional.
I was looking for the right words. That was a good one.
That
was a better one.
No, and
I was going to say very womanesque.
Yeah, emotional.
I even at one point, like, we were packing, or either I was doing laundry. Either way, is the same thing. I don't remember what was said, and your response. And I looked at you. I'm like, all right, now listen, I haven't said anything. And I keep asking you if you're okay. And you keep saying you're fine. But you're not fine. Something's wrong. Yeah. There can only be one woman in this fucking relationship. And you got to figure that the fuck out.
And look, and what had happened was...
I'm not doing anything. I said, you just did it right there.
Yeah. Well, what had happened was my estrogen levels got off.
Yeah.
And again, your body is a giant chemistry experiment. And it's
going to fluctuate.
Yeah, and they wasn't horrible. No. It wasn't horrible numbers. And I hadn't started seeing any muscle loss or any of that stuff.
They
weren't horrible numbers, but it was just enough.
And it's to put it in perspective, like our love language is shit talk if you haven't figured that out. And I would say something that would be to some people's perspective off color, but to us, it's just our daily conversation. And instead of him coming back with something else or making jokes about it, he would get upset. And not like mad upset, but
it was somewhere in between fuck that bitch and I might cry.
Yeah. That was exactly like it was that. It was the hormonal woman right before her period where she's mad and upset about everything and don't know why. Yeah. Like that's exactly where you were.
My estrogen numbers wasn't bad. They wasn't super high or anything. I didn't have any gyno.
And oddly enough, those couple of weeks, we did kind of have some bedroom issues.
Yeah.
Where things would be working and then they weren't working to full extent. And then that got in your head even more. And I'm like, it's fine. It's fine.
And then they put me on an aromatase, which is an estrogen inhibitor. Mm-hmm. Again, works for some people, don't work for other people. Mm-mm. Some people don't need it. Some people do. And it fixed it.
Yeah. In about 2 weeks, everything was right back.
Fixed it. Goes back to benefit of going to our hormone doctor. Because I literally picked the phone up and called and said, Ross, something's fucked up.
Ashton told me I'm acting like a woman.
Yeah. I said, Ash told me I'm acting like a woman. He said, come in, let's do your blood work. Come on. He said, when can you be here? I said, I will be there in an hour.
And we both went up there after that, and he turned and looked at me. He goes, you nailed that one, didn't you? I said, that wasn't my husband.
So that goes to just show you that how big a role hormones and your hormone health plays in your life. And I know we have talked about a lot of stuff here and really not talked about a lot of stuff, but
experiences, perspectives, and what we've dealt with, but which goes into kind of closing in this, which will roll into the next podcast. Just like that right there, so many people aren't being communicative with their partners on how they feel and how they're making each other feel.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem in itself is communication. Mm-hmm. Men don't want to admit to their wives that they feel emotional because especially like blue collar men, they're the worst because even as little boys, if you get hurt, just walk it off. Ain't no need to cry. Rub some dirt in it.
Now, things have changed a little bit.
Yes, over the years they have.
And we're not going to get into this whole millennials and they're bitches, and we're not going to get into all that.
But at the moment, we're talking about prospectively, mostly about Gen X dudes.
Yeah, like my age.
Yes. Y'all were still to rub the dirt in the generation.
We were rub the dirt in it, get up, quit being a fucking pansy. I'm
a girl and I was raised like that. I got knocked flat on my ass off a horse, and my dad caught the horse in the pasture and grabbed me and put me on him, squalling and crying. He was like, no ma'am. He goes, that horse thinks he got over on you. He goes, we'll fix that. Talking about my cuts and stuff.
Yeah.
Just bleeding everywhere. We'll fix that when we get to the barn. Right now, you fixing to ride him back to let him know he didn't get the best of you.
Look, I've told you the story. I was 16 years old. Talking a fastball off of
I didn't even get stitches in the baseball I caught to my lip.
I thought my eye was out, but the skin flapped over.
Yeah.
My dad took me to the ER because I was playing on a tournament baseball team, which now would be considered a travel
ball, yeah.
And this was a Friday game of a Friday, Saturday, Sunday thing.
Put some super glue in.
Took me to the ER, stitched me up. And whenever I got back in the truck, he looked at me and he said, "You want to go home?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "Let's go." And he was like, "You didn't have a fucking choice. You were going back to play. Your team needs you." So he was taking me back to play the game with stitches in my head.
He was asking to know where he
wanted
needed
to know where my head was.
He wanted, exactly. He needed to know where he needed to go with the next part of the conversation. All right, am I going, okay, good boy, this is what you're going to fucking do anyhow, or am I going to have the talk?
Yeah, so
Son,
that's why.
You got a responsibility.
And I'm 49, I'll be 50 in December. And that's why men my age don't like to talk about that.
They don't.
And then once you bring sexual health into it.
With you. So
I tell you, I don't care. And then you bring sexual health into it, especially ED. You know what? 43% of men my age have ED. It's probably more than that because that's the 43% that I talk about.
That is in 90% of cases preventable and fixable by supplementation, diet, and exercise.
Yes. But they don't want to talk about that because they go back to your dad going, "Quit being a bitch. Just get up and let's go."
If it's one person that is a husband, a man, you should be able to talk about these things with above anybody else, it is your spouse. And a note for the women, especially Southern women. Honey, we can be brutal. If your husband is having these kind of issues, one, you got to pay attention to your partner enough to know when they're not being themselves. Be supportive enough to know is everything okay. Ask the right questions. Don't badger them. Don't do what most Southern women do and just me. Can't fucking stand that shit. Because let me tell you, it don't do nothing but emasculate them more. It makes their issues worse. It makes them not want to talk to you.
Yeah, you don't want to talk about it.
So you can't sit here and complain about he's not romantic anymore. When was the last time you did anything? But men too, you have to continue to do for them as well. That doesn't exonerate men. No, that's that lack of communication thing that as the years go on, you get in this little settled life, especially after having kids, that time is an issue. Because Lord knows, if we didn't get up at 2 a.m. in the morning, we would never have enough time to do any of the crap that we do just to keep our lights on. And
men, just because you get married, that does not give you the license to go buy man boobies and the fat gut and stop doing everything that made your wife fall in love with you.
Don't stop dating your spouse.
And that is so cliche, but it is true. It is true.
Complacency is the biggest killer of marriage, and the complacency by not communicating and not having these conversations and not paying attention to your spouse. When we start having these problems and these issues, he noticed an issue before I realized I was having the issue. Same with him. I noticed that he was acting like a bitch.
Yeah, and look, and there's times
before he even realized it himself. And it took a couple of times of me saying something. And the first time, he's either laughing at us or laughing at the TV. I know that picked up.
Fucking asshole.
Anyhow. Oh, he's definitely laughing at us. It's the 14-year-old. Anyhow, what the fuck was I saying?
You told me I was a bitch.
Oh, yeah.
Couple times.
You can't just start going after, especially, you have to deal with your spouse in a delicate way when they're in those situations. And it goes back to communication and knowing your spouse.
Which is leading into
you got to know how to talk to them. I didn't berate you the first time. I didn't scold or berate you the second time or the third time or the fourth time. It was around between that fifth and seventh time whenever I was like, I remember whatever it was I had in my hand, I threw it on the bed and I pointed my finger at you and I was like, look here now, there can only be one female in this relationship.
That goes back to my generation of men. There's a large portion of us, and it wasn't all of us, but there's a lot, because we were the beginning of participation trophy babies. But there's a large portion of us that were taught by hard fucking
men.
savage men.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather was a hard, savage man because he had to be. My grandfather, my dad's 70, so I mean that tells you kind of the age range. My grandfather lived through the Great Depression, and they had to be hard men.
So did mine.
But those hard men.
That's how we wound up in Mississippi out of Louisiana.
Yeah, but those hard men, their whole thing was, you're a man, suck it up, get over it, and move on. Mm-hmm. Because you have shit to do. Mm-hmm. And right, wrong, or otherwise, I'm not saying that because I mean, my work ethic is one of the things that got me out of a wheelchair, got me walking again, that does a lot of things for us. Your work ethic does the same thing.
Finished the police academy with a broken pelvic and kept on trucking.
So I'm not saying they were wrong.
I was not going back.
But what that did was it put in our head, we're fine. I got it. I'm fine. I got it. And when we're not.
When this generation has a tummy ache.
And they're not fine.
They're not fine. And they got to take 3 weeks off of work. And where we would show up at work in casts and broken fingers and Lord knows what else would have happened to us over the years.
But that's for the next one, the communication and stuff. But look, to recap this, hormone health.
The next one is spicing up the bedroom.
Yeah.
Which is where this is opening that door.
Because you got to have your hormones correct before you can. If you're having problems in the bedroom, you got to have your hormones right.
Yeah, if your hormones aren't leveled out, then all of this ain't going to work like it's supposed to. There are a lot of lady issues that we didn't directly get into today because some of them it's hard to talk about, especially on open social media and YouTube because they will squish it. But, like, unless you got an MD behind your name. I don't have an MD. I tried.
But look, if your hormones aren't right, your bedroom life is not going to be where you want it to be. There's no other way around it. That it's indisputable. Like if your hormones aren't right, your bedroom life's not going to be where you want it to be. Now, and that leads into communication and a lot of other things. But to kind of recap this, because women, start with women, find a hormone doctor that's not considered an OB, because OBs deliver babies. That's their job.
There are some OBs that
there are
do.
Some.
My cousin, her OB, which is probably the next that I'm fixing.
Yeah. There's some.
He's fixing to be my new doctor.
They are few and far between.
Because he does everything Leah does with me, that he does with her. He's actually the one that talked to Nikki about her getting her hormones checked. Like he's the one who talked to her about it. And she was like, okay. Because she was talking about, how are you feeling? And she made mention about, some of her issues. And he was like, well, let me run some blood work. So he was the one that initiated that.
So that's a good one. And I'm not saying there's not good ones out there. But
he's saying being mindful.
If they will not talk to you about your test levels, your progesterone, your estrogen levels,
your workout, and your diet,
then find a legitimate hormone doctor that specializes in women. Don't be scared whenever they say testosterone that you're going to turn into a man.
Nope.
Don't be scared of that.
That's just as stupid as being scared of lifting weights because you don't want to be big and bulky. Honey, let me tell you something. Building muscle burns body fat and helps regulate your hormones. And the older we get, the more muscle mass we need to build in our younger years because we won't be able to build it as much in our older years. And there are studies that prove that when you have the base muscle mass going into your silver years, you're less prone to certain debilitating diseases. You're less prone to breaking bones, osteoporosis, falls, dementia.
Falls are the number one killer of people.
It's heart disease, and women are just as women have problems with heart disease.
So find your hormone doctor, do the blood work. Don't be scared of words like, especially women, workouts. If I hear another woman, and I've started using this at the gym, and they look at me funny when I say it, which I don't care, but I don't want to get too bulky and look too mannish. Okay, that's like saying you're going to accidentally become a billionaire. It's not going to happen. You're not going to lift one weight and become too bulky and man looking as a woman. So,
we're not going to get that bulky man look unless we've got some extra little juice help. You know what I'm saying?
Like, it takes a minute.
TRT's not that. TRT is hormone replacement. It's not.
The TRT is
it's not gear.
Yeah, TRT is to get your levels to your optimal level, not your superhuman level.
No.
It's just not. And that's the same for men.
You can take enough of it, but you're not going to have the normal hormone levels that your doctor's looking for around that 60 to 100. Yeah. You're going to be looking at injecting to the point that you're looking at for a woman around the 200 levels to do that.
I've seen some numbers that are off the fucking charts.
Well, I'm just saying an average person. We're not talking about certain social media types that say they're natural and we know they're not.
No. So don't be scared of that. Don't be scared if they say we got to put you on testosterone. Men, find you I can tell you right now, there's no doctors out there that are the equivalent of a hormone doctor for a man.
Especially your buddy that does the gear out of the back door of the gym. He may tell you that he's bringing in some TRT, but one, you don't know where that came from. It's not a verified source. Don't care how much you trust him if you go back to whatever days of running around. You can't trust that. Having a reputable source, a good doctor, good pharmacy, good compounding, and the addition to, you could be taking something that could be screwing your body up. You could not be taking enough. You could be taking too much. You could throw your estrogen out of whack, which would cause all sorts of other problems. Could cause more of an ED issue, can cause depression, anxiety issues.
It all has to work together.
So just don't think I'm going to skip the doctor and I'm just going to go to Jody at the gym and, get out that hustle.
I'm just going to go black market.
Don't do that. That is just, you could screw your body up so bad. And with the options that are readily available now
there's no excuse.
There's no excuse.
There's no excuse to do that
when there's enough doctors out there and a lot of insurance companies that will pay for it. Not saying everyone does, but if you're going to an OB, you can get it paid for through your OB. Now we have to pay out of pocket because it's an actual hormone clinic.
Yeah.
And they have to operate on cash.
Yeah, when I say cash clinic, they don't take insurance.
They don't take insurance.
Which a lot of them don't. That's the other thing. Do need to mention here at the end. There's an expense involved.
The cost is roughly still about the same.
But
it's a difference between a self-pay bill and an insured bill.
Yeah.
Insurance
there
jacks
is some
it up.
cost involved, but you're either going to pay for your health and wellness now, or you're going to pay for it later. When do you want to pay for it? If you pay for it now and you get everything straightened out, I can promise you when later comes, it won't be as expensive and you will enjoy this part.
It's like certain people that we know that if they change their diet to what we have suggested and what their doctors have suggested, or certain doctors have suggested, not the doctors they want to listen to, but the ones that they are, they're not listening to. If they would have changed their diets back several years ago and had, they would have had an $800 to $1,000 grocery bill. But now they're complaining about they can't afford anything. I just can't afford to eat like you eat, when they're still spending about $500 to $800 a month in groceries.
But they're also spending $1,500 a month on meds. Exactly.
That's problems that could have been alleviated, even just if they didn't make any other changes but diet alone.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you're going to pay for it. how and when do you want to do it? So
it's an investment.
Yeah,
it's an investment in yourself. Yeah. It's an investment in your future. For some people, it's investments in their marriage. Yeah. No.
And it makes everything better. So don't be scared of it. Don't be scared of it.
No.
Men, don't be a bitch. Go to the doctor. Go to the doctor, get your blood drawn. Do it the right way. Women, find you a doctor that will do it the right way. If it's a doctor you have, great. If you got to find one, okay. If you live in the Mississippi area and you are curious about what doctors we use, we're not going
to plug them here.
But if you message us, we'll tell you.
But 100%, I'll give you their direct contact. We have talked to them about it, and they would love the referrals.
Yeah, just message us.
Yeah, if you're a woman in the Mississippi area, especially Central Mississippi, or male, we have 2 clinics for males clinic that are in the area that are great. And then there's one clinic. There is only one clinic in Central Mississippi that we have found that solely specializes in women's hormone health. And they're all amazing clinics. Absolutely love them. Excuse me.
But yeah, just let us know. Stop being hard-headed about it. Know that there's going to take some work involved. And honestly, men and women, otherwise, sunflowers, whatever you identify as, quit being a bitch. Just go get it done. So you can feel better. Your partner can enjoy you more. And your life gets better. And that's what prompted this. We see so many people who are stuck in that quiet desperation of fuck this.
This one's bitching about that. This one's bitching about this. And realistically, a lot of them are having similar issues, separate problems, but they all kind of stem around the same thing. Yeah. And this is what sparked it, is the people that we know that aren't making these changes, but the several handfuls of people who have reached out to us, who have went and done, what we said we did and followed suit. Again, we just give our perspective of what we've dealt with and what we deal with in our businesses. You do with that information what you will. But those who have taken our advice on what we've done and helped them find a way for themselves, they've all come back. How many times have we had people tell us that we saved their lives? Save their marriages? That's the one that gets me for both of our perspectives on the fitness and the other consultant part of the industry business. The spicy side of things. That's another thing. Like with the spicy stuff that we do on the websites, I talk to all of my clients that want to talk about that. You wouldn't believe how many people subscribe to those sites. And it's because they're having issues. And I have lost subscribers because they have wound up fixing some of their issues and made things better with their wives. Which is great. They still stay in contact with me on social media, and I'm good with that. I'm glad that we can help somebody.
But it never would have happened if we didn't end up where we were, and then we took the steps to fix it. And that's the thing. That's what this is about. Take the steps to fix it. And then we'll get into communication and bedroom stuff.
So
we're going to get into bedroom stuff.
That's going to be the next one. So in short, if you are a female and you are over the age of 35 and you're noticing that certain things are changing, that you are crying about things you used to never cry about, you find more mental fatigue, brain fog, forgetfulness, lack of desire, and lack of interest, and lack of certain productivity, that's a big one that a lot of women don't want to talk about, to the ED thing on men. It is time for you to communicate with your partner and find a solution that works for you.
My throat's dry. I need to wet it up. It's got to be wet.
Gotta make sure it stays
Got to
moist.
make sure my throat's wet.
You gotta make sure it stays moist.
And men, that's a metal, that's a hard straw. Hard. Got to make sure it stays hard. Hard. Sorry, go ahead. I was speaking about straw.
I was trying to close this up.
Oh, I've been trying to do that for a minute. Go, finish.
I don't have the patience.
Finish.
I was kind of hoping after I finished this lady get here that you would go into talking to the men about the shit they need to fucking do.
Okay, well, are you done?
Yes.
No, finish. Women. Wet.
I'm done. I lost it because you kept on.
Okay. Anyway, women, do what she said. Men, go see a doctor. Get your blood work done. Communicate with that doctor what's going on and put your little pride in your back pocket when you go. And be a man. Sounds weird.
And if you got guy friends that have already been there, done that, but you don't want to talk to them about it, quit being a bitch.
Yeah.
Especially if your marriage is on the rocks.
Yeah.
You can't say you've done everything to fight for that marriage if part of that is some of the bedroom issue and some of your complacency issues. If you haven't done everything in your power to fix it because you just feel like it's too hard.
Yeah. And that's for men and women. So, and I think that's the takeaway. Take the steps you need to take to get healthy, to fix your hormones, or at least know where your hormones are. And then
there's too much information and too much technology in this day and age for us to just go, oh, well.
That's just part of aging.
I'm just older now. I got to just deal with it. No, we ain't got to deal with it no more.
No,
we
can
don't.
fix it. So, there you go, guys. Hope you got something from it.